So, yeah, today, first of all, I want to welcome everyone who is joining this session today. I'm very excited about the opportunity to listen to a great transformative renovation journey from Jack Webb. And also to be joined by Takaina, is that correct? Landscaping and consultation company, and they have at the heart an amazing program which ties in with the story from Jack as well. We will get to that point a little bit later. So yes, today we will hear this great story with a lot of details, advice, and tips you can even repurpose for your own journey. And then we will dive also a little bit into Jack's logbook and how he has actually stored all these decisions in it, making them visible, and also set up his goals to track actually also future improvements. And I'm also joined by Daniel, who is the heart of our community and content creation part at Evitat. So Daniel will basically manage the logbook sessions. And before we continue, I just want to do a quick acknowledgement also of country. So in the spirit of reconciliation, Evitat acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, and community. And I want to pay my respect to the elders past and present and emerging, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today. We are in particular here to listen, learn, and build a future together. So I'm hoping to see that as well as an outcome on the weekend. So today we have Jack Webb, conscious renovator, sustainable carpenter. We will hear his entire transformational story about the home he bought 2017 with his partner together. We have also Alexandria Jade, who is a co-director and head of Softscape and permaculture design Takaina, and Mauricio as well. They both run the company. Daniel, as mentioned, who is part of the Evitat team, and myself. So I will give you both, Jack and Alexandria, a quick, maybe short introduction, and then we will dive into the story of that home renovation, Jack. Jack, maybe you start.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, my name's Jack from Warrnambool. Been a carpenter for probably about 14 years now. Yeah, love making furniture out of timber. Yeah, that's about it, really. Yeah,
I think just to add maybe one thing to it, I think at the heart of everything you do, there is this repurpose part, and I think, you know, reclaimed materials, repurposing and refurbishing is so intertwined in everything you do, which is quite amazing. And it is like this yarn which goes through the entire story. So I'm quite curious to hear that and in detail, and also to see how it even unfolds actually in your own business model. And then Alexandria, maybe introduce yourself and a little bit the company.
Hi everyone, you can call me Alex, it's easier. And this is Mauricio, so we're lucky enough to bring Mauricio along today as well. So we are the founders and we are on the ground operating Takaina, which is a sustainable landscaping company. If we were to simplify it, we have a really mixed, diverse background. So between us, I'm a permaculture teacher, designer, background in business, etc. managing people. Maurizio's got a super diverse background. He's a engineer. He had his own company in Italy, renewable energy, managing people. He's actually a qualified neuro-linguistic programmer. And we've really packed that into our business, essentially, to work on creating consciously designed landscapes that improve people's lives.
Yeah, amazing. Maurizio, I think your background is so interesting that it probably requires another webinar to dive deeper into that. No, thank you both. This is absolute amazing to have you all here today. And so we will start now with Jack's story. On that, just a quick intro. Jack, you have purchased the home. Yeah. 2017 with your partner, and since then you are on a journey really to transform every single bit. And when I'm talking about every single bit, it's nearly every single plank, it's nearly every single screw, and you have changed a lot. So before we dive into what you have changed, maybe tell us a little bit, and I've outlined it here as well, how did that home actually come with these major issues? Or like they basically sold it with a lot of gaps. So I'll leave it actually to you now to take over and introduce us to the whole home story.
Yeah, no worries. So the house was on the market for a while, and I think it was on the market for a while because it was, as you can see from the picture, it was pretty run down. I think that's the north side of the north facing wall, and you can see all the white bits of paint on the wall. I did that to try and stop the rest of the paint from falling off. The weatherboards were just so bad. I don't think you can see any holes in that side, but on the south side that cops all the weather, all the rain and the wind, you could actually see like a hole. You'd look up and you can see a hole into the wall. And yeah, like it was like the windows were all rattly and they had holes in them. And I remember having to shove packers because they were old sash windows. And I remember having to shove packers and paper all around underneath, like to stop the wind coming in through the windows. And yeah, it was pretty old, and I don't want to say rotten, but yeah, it was pretty haggard.
Jack, can I just ask, so did you had actually like the sash windows, were they just old timber windows? Or?
Yeah, they're all timber sash windows, apart from the west facing window. So like just here, that's we've got big glass. That whole wall was pretty much glass, so it's like big French doors and fixed and awning windows. So everything else was just sash windows. They're the ones that go up and down with the weight. So yeah, we got rid of them and just went all awnings. Yeah,
awesome.
And
what was it like in terms of kind of insulation and draft proofing and kind of the comfort levels and everything for the first while when you moved in? Like, how was it kind of to be in the home?
It was like in summer it was just so hot. Like on a hot day, it'd stay hot for another 2 or 3 days afterwards, and you could feel it in the floorboards, and it was just it wasn't nice. And then in winter it was just freezing cold. Just with everything would be shut, but you could still feel the breeze coming through. I don't know where it was coming from, but it was coming in somewhere, and it was just cold. You could feel it in the floor. You could feel it just, it wasn't nice. You can see in the photos, there was no insulation at all. in any of the external walls. And then I think, and even the where the power was hooked up to the wall there, in that middle photo, that was just hanging on as well. So yeah, the house was just hanging in there. Yeah.
And
I
it
guess
was
there's a
still
question in the end.
Sorry,
Sorry,
Daniel.
go ahead.
Oh.
No, you go
I
ahead, Sonia.
just wanted to also mention it was still connected to gas, is like for hot water and cooking. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, it was all gas. Yeah, hot water. That other photo you had up before, that was, so that was, go the other way.
This
Yeah,
one.
that one. So we put that in. So the one that was in there before that, it had blown up. So that was one of those old square ones. So we brought that in, and we probably had that for probably 5 years. So yeah, we had that with gas as well. So yeah, that's what we had until we got the heat pump.
And you paid probably also a fair amount actually on energy bills, means electricity and gas included.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Daniel, I sent through our energy bills and gas bills through to Daniel, and he pointed out that we're probably saving, I think it was like $1,000, was it a year, or and
Yeah,
that was,
yeah.
I think last year we didn't have solar connected for probably 3 or 4 months as well, because we had to disconnect all the power to do that. The renos on that side, replace those weatherboards there, so we had to disconnect everything. So we didn't have the power there running for 3 or 4 months, a couple of months. I can't remember how long it was, but yeah, now it's, yeah, like I was saying to my brother Toby the other day that it was a sunny day, so I was like, and I was at home just doing some work, so I thought, oh, while the sun's out and we got solar, I'll just cook as much as I can, and just cook while So I think I had the air fryer going. I had I was just cooking rice and sausages, and I was just, I was like, I can cook everything and wash everything while the sun's out, so I don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, awesome. That it's definitely influencing behavior, which is great. Because why shouldn't you?
Exactly.
If you get actually at the particular time during the day everything for free, which is great. Yeah.
We have a sorry, Sonia, just before we move on, there's a question in the chat from Michelle. And Michelle's asking if there's a reason why no one wanted to buy the place for land value and demolish it, knock it down, or demolish it and build a new home. And I guess it kind of touches into stuff that we talk about a lot at Evitat, and actually, Jack, what we've spoken about insofar as kind of knocking down homes and rebuilding is kind of a huge, has huge carbon implications, and 30 to 50 years worth of operational carbon emissions in one go. And that if we just knock down all houses in Australia and rebuild them, actually just, if we ever want to get to net zero, that's just not really an option. I guess we spoke about that, Jack, in terms of kind of affordability. It was kind of, I mean, it's a perfectly good structure, and being able to retrofit it the way that you did. Yeah, it's kind of a way to, like, it's going to be good again for another 100 years or so, instead of just knocking it down and starting it again. But yeah, maybe do you want to talk about your thought process there, and maybe you did think about knocking it down for a while, and
sure.
I thought it was an interesting question.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, to be honest, I think it was my mum because we're looking for ages to buy a house, my partner Lucy and I, and I think it was mum who suggested we go up for a look. And I think, to be honest, I don't know why no one bought it, apart from there was it needed a lot of work, but I don't know why it wasn't bought earlier, apart from it just needed a lot of work. To knock it down, I suppose, to knock it down and rebuild, the house itself and the block of land, I mean, it wasn't cheap, but yeah, I don't know if it was just to buy the block of land and then knock it all down. It probably just wasn't going to be worth it. You might not have got your money back. I don't know. And we kind of thought the same when after we'd bought it and we'd been in it for a while. Like, should we knock it down? Should we like put something on the back of it? Should we put it on the front or whatever? But yeah, like it's the actual structure of it's good. Like it's a good house, and to knock it down, it just would have created just so much, I suppose, waste. And like you just said, it's just so much embodied carbon. When we could have just done did the stuff that we did, and hopefully give it another 100 or so years. And putting the appliances and the solar and I suppose future proofing it as much as we could. It's hopefully I can't see why it can't be good for a long time to come. It's in a great spot as well. Like it's a 5-minute walk down the street and 10 minutes out to that way and 20 minutes down to the beach. So yeah, it's good.
It's perfect actually located. And on that note, Jack, when you, I mean, as a carpenter, I guess you have a little bit of possible prioritization in your head, you know, when you bought. So I'm assuming you did go probably first to check, you know, structural integrity and those kind of things, which are probably needed urgent attention. But then with the first go, so you mentioned already the windows because they had massive gaps and were really drafty and those kind of things. What else did you tackle as well in that first go? And what was then maybe secondary, a second step to the entire renovation journey?
We got stuck into the windows first, and I think we got solar after that. That was the next thing we got. I was thinking about this morning, and I probably started with a couple of worm farms. Actually, that might have been like the very first thing I got. That kind of got me into all the sustainability stuff. My brother Toby, he pretty much started talking to me about it. I'm like, I'll get some worm farm, sure. And started chucking all the food scraps into there, and then one worm farm turned into 3, and then 5 compost bins, and so the backyard's got worm farms and compost bins everywhere, but that's all right. Then solar, and I think we just went from there. I think we got a split system as well after that, because the other one was dying, we had to. I think we got up to that wall, as you can see. Those couple guys up on the scaffold there. We got up to that wall and we needed a split system. The other one had died, so we got one of them, and then we just worked our way around the house. So we kind of got things as we worked our way around the house. So we started around there, got the split system, and then went around the back and we got the heat pump, and then I think that was and like all the weatherboards and the windows and that all came.
Yeah. Can I just ask you in terms of the insulation, like did you remove the weatherboard because it was already pretty damaged and rotten and needed to be replaced, so that you can access as well and insulate at even the moisture membrane? And like, did you do this from the outside, or was it?
Yeah, all from the outside. Like the weatherboards, yeah, like you saw in those photos, they were pretty rotten. So yeah, they all came off, and there was no insulation or anything in the walls. It was just weatherboards, stud, and then the plaster. So yeah, ripped everything off, and then like, well, no wonder it's cold and so hot in here. And then yeah, once we had the weatherboards off, we insulated it, put all the bats in there in the walls, and then yeah, wrapped it up. And so with those weatherboards, we put the battens, so the weatherboards could be nailed to them. So there's a gap. I think it's a 35 mil gap between the weatherboards and the studs.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, so all the moisture, if any moisture gets in there, it can run down. It's not just going up against the studs, and yeah, it can run down out at the bottom there.
Yep. Awesome. So you have basically improved all the wall insulation. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yeah. And that's in itself already a fair bit of quite a big job.
yeah.
The weatherboard needed to be replaced anyway, so having access actually at that point to the wall systems is probably the best to do it then. And I think I saw also something, just give me a second, just go back. I saw even here these roof tiles. Like, can you explain a little bit, because I saw in some photos they had this black kind of, not quite sure what it is, and then somewhere just a normal, like, was that a ceiling or like
No,
what
it's just
exactly? Sorry?
just paint.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, nothing special about that one. Yeah, I didn't. I was just up there trying to work out what color I was going to paint it. That's
Okay,
all.
good.
Nothing special about that one. I think down lower, I think that was the original color. That kind of faded red color. And I was going to paint it like that. You can see down a bit lower. You can see that kind of that crimson red Sikaflex I've got there. I was going to paint the whole thing in that, but it looked horrible, so I painted it in the colours of the gutter. I reckon it looks better.
Okay, got it. Because I couldn't quite, tried actually to make sense of it, and I was wondering, was that before or after? But now it makes sense totally. Okay, so. Did you just paint like the edges, or even?
Yeah, just the capping around down the gable. And then you can see in the background where I painted the gutter white. I was just seeing what colours looked all right.
Yeah, got it.
That's what the original colours were next to the white. It was like this kind of faded green. Yeah, so we ripped all the gutters off as well. So it replaced all the gutters and downpipes. So yeah,
there's a question. There's another question in the chat, actually. Someone, and Emily's asking about lathe and plaster on the interior, which is maybe a carpentry thing that I'm actually not familiar with. But maybe Jack, do you know what anything about lathe and plaster? Is maybe that the way that the wall system is built on the inside?
Yeah, maybe there might have been. Well, not might have been. I think there might be. So down the hallway there, I don't know if it's if it's horsehair plaster or what, because it's a bit got a texture to it, so it's a bit rough. So I don't know if it's lathe and plaster or just horsehair and they put some texture on it or what. But everywhere else is like it's been redone in, I suppose, just normal plaster. But yeah, that's all I can think that might be that horsehair lathe and plaster.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, not sure.
Did you prioritize doing the inside of the house before you moved in, or doing it kind of room to room before moving to the outside to kind of navigate living in the space while doing the renovations? Was there kind of any thinking around that?
Yeah, so in these photos, that's, where are we? The one on the left, that's what it was when we first moved in. So it was that wall behind me, that was brown. And I think all around here, that was just brown, and there was like big heavy curtains, and I think the hallway was kind of like a pale yellow, and there was like light blue and dark blues. And so yeah, before we moved in, I got up here and I tried to paint. I got everything painted inside before we moved in, just because I know how hard it is to try and paint a house with all your furniture and you're living inside it. So yeah, got up here and tried to make it a little bit nicer. But that was really it and we got that painted, and then we moved in after that. Yeah, and
Awesome.
kind of did bits and pieces inside after we've been living here. Well, yeah, while we're living here. Yeah.
And you also improved actually that entire entrance part, right? With like, this is what it was before. I guess that's a concrete porch. Is that correct?
Sorry, what was that?
Was that previously like a concrete porch
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah.
And then you basically created this really nice timber area, actually, with steps and so on. So that was that improved actually nicely then the entire entry part of the house. And then also with crazy paving, a nice footpath
Yeah.
to the gate.
Yeah, that entrance there, those steps, I don't know who designed them, but that was so bad to get up and down, and they were slippery, and I don't think we even went through the front, to be honest. No one went. Everyone just goes around the back. But after we built the deck, it's like on a nice sunny morning, doesn't happen much, but occasionally when it does, go out there and just sit on the deck and sit in the sun and have a coffee or whatever. But it's so much nicer than what it was, and we didn't knock it down. We didn't have to like knock any of that slab out or all those steps, so they're all still there, and we kind of just build it all off that. Like, yeah, to knock it down, if you didn't have to, I mean, it's just more stuff I've got to get rid of and pay to get rid of. And if you can leave it there and work off it, all the better.
Yeah, awesome. That's great. So I've just added here 2 photos of the before. It shows pretty well also I think the windows and the state of how it was actually, and also how dark actually the interior was, with the dark walls and everything. And then I found these images, which photos, and
I haven't seen those photos for a while. And
it's quite a difference.
That's disgusting. Whose bathroom is that?
Yeah, like if we switch back, I mean, around the windows, was that around each of these windows?
So the reason why that looks all like smashed and all really, really rough is because the window that was there like before we put this new one in, what happened? I think we had to chip out a few of the tiles to get the other one out. For some reason, I think the arc of the window was wrapped around the tiles, or for some reason we had to chip out a few of the tiles. That's why they all smashed up. But yeah, if you go to the next picture, next slide, you can see I had to cut the tiles straight, and there's still a few big cracks right through the tiles, but you can't really see it unless you get right up close, and no one notices them. But yeah, I had to cut the tiles straight to fit the new arc, so that timber arc in, and then yeah, just silicone around the side of it, between the tiles and the arc, and yeah, that looks a bit better.
Looks much better.
Just-
It's very bright, it's very cozy, it looks really nice. Makes a huge difference also, particularly with the living room, that darkness in it previously. And now is quite significant. And I think light plays a really important part in homes as well. So it is when everything comes together, you know, the coziness of having good insulation, having really well indoor temperature, but also the light, that just adds to a very nice, comfortable home. It's a great outcome.
Yeah.
And being able to keep the original floorboards of the original house in there, it's just like you can just really tell because they don't make floorboards like that so much anymore. It's just really nice to have that kind of finish and look as well.
Yeah. They could do with a sand and a polish, but yeah, right. Yeah, they got a heap of dents and scratches in it, but yeah, I reckon they're fine. They're good. Yeah.
That's character, absolutely. So I've listed here all the improvements we have added from LED downlights, even the entire wiring, replacing gas, hot water, and so on. I think Daniel, maybe you can take on these things and jump maybe also into the logbook to showcase just quickly how these things have been tracked along the way.
Yeah, great. Yeah, let's do that. I should be able to switch to sharing the screen.
I need to, just a second.
How's that?
Yeah, maybe you can just scroll a little bit up so that we see also, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really, I guess it's great. Obviously, Jack being an Evertat logbook user, it's kind of one of the first ones actually is kind of used the tool to be able to log not just all his goals for kind of past and future at the property, but also all these upgrades that he's been doing, which has been fantastic. So I mean, I thought it'd be great if we just have you can see here that Jack added completed all these different sections for all the different areas of his home by adding to his log. So the first section is all about structural and building materials. I think it's just so great to be able to see here so clearly, just as Jack was saying, that the wall insulation is done. Yeah, and then kind of more nuanced levels below that about how much of your home stays comfortable during cold snaps. I think you put here, Jack, 50%, and I guess that kind of probably speaks to the fact that you're still keen to do the ceiling insulation, and that will probably play a big part. Yeah,
I'd like to do the floor as well, but you can't even get under there, so
So yeah, there's just limited access often enough under flooring, and in the end, it's often limited, but ceiling roof insulation makes actually a fair bit of difference as well. So if you have that on your roadmap, it's great. Yeah, and I think that will add even to efficiency as well.
Yeah, I actually had a question about this next one here, Jack. You put in here in the section about materials that regulate moisture and avoid mold, and selected breathable render and wall finish. You've used some of that around the place. Yeah, what kind of products are you talking about there? And you might even have a bit of a show and tell for us.
Yeah. Oh, that one I actually got. So the VOC, low VOC oils and the natural oils and stuff that I was going to use. sorry, not going to, but I have used. But that one there, permeable, breathable. So that was just the wrap, the Bradford EnviroSeal, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just making that cavity in between the weatherboards and the studs there.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Just
cool. What?
Yeah,
Sorry, go
just
ahead, Sonia.
on the note of the logbook, I think what's really important to tell is when you're logging, like Jack did, your home improvements, retrofits, or even entire renovations, you're making it really visible to you and across these 6 core benefits, which includes healthy home, affordability, comfort, like we are talking here about the thermal comfort, not the lounge or something, the efficiency, and we have also a broader or 2 broader aspects, which is social, environmental impact. That includes also questions, about like even in healthy home, we have aspects of a garden, but social environmental has also aspects, for example, of can you grow fruits and vegetable and even share that with community, because the community you live in is also a really important part to consider. You always live within some proximity of a neighbor, and having actually a good relationship in the best case possible is such a value. And if you ever have lived in regional areas, it becomes also a safety net. Often enough, if something happens, like community you can lean on, and it's such a nice way to consider that. Carbon, a big area, so we have allocated an entire category to carbon, includes material choices, biomaterials, and so on. But it includes, of course, your solar PV system, possible your EV connection, or even if you can actually skip your car entirely and switch to public transport. Like even those aspects we are considering and mapping it in that impact meter, because we think also it creates a really exceptional value around the unique criteria of your home, and also around a property for future buyers. And that's exactly what we want to highlight. So if you're looking at the property value, that's a section what we are working on. But it feeds basically into these home improvements, uses these specifics of materials and products, and also these other aspects. And we put that together with general property valuation, but considering the climate resilience around these elements. So that will be coming. So stick with us, and we will be launching that next year at some point.
Yeah, I think it's so great with Jack's logbook. Obviously you can set your various goals from those different subcategories, and Jack, obviously being very keen, has selected all the goals because he has very large ambitions. But yeah, you can see things this year around reusing demolition materials and supporting local business and renewable energy and getting off gas. And it's just so great that then with logging Jack's home improvements, like he can go in there and say, yes, I've done those things, and I've done that, and I've done that. And then in terms of renewable energy, he's put the solar in, and you can see that the impact track is getting up really towards meeting those goals that he's selected, and kind of you see in real time every time he puts in a new upgrade, those will get up closer towards 100, which is great.
Yeah, really well done, Jack. That's already such an impressive outcome, and it really creates a valuable home, with low maintenance and so on. So Daniel, can we just maybe jump back into
I was thinking, I think it's from the social environmental goals that Jack has in his work that he wants to do on the garden and creating an urban habitat and garden for produce. That's maybe a good segue into talking about future plans and gardening.
exactly. So I just go into this part. So Jack, I picked on these 3 images because they show a certain process. And that leads us also to a current course you're doing with Alex and Takaina Landscaping. So it is a DIY course actually to get the right skills of being able to do it yourself, but with or embedded actually in this consultation, which is such a nice format and program. And that leads me a little bit to Alex, maybe to say a couple of things, and maybe also Jack, about your current progress in that program.
So, do you guys want to go? Do you want me to?
You want to go first?
You go. I've been banging on for hours.
That's all right. So cool. Anyway, thank you so much for having us, because it's amazing to hear about the entire journey inside. And obviously we have very aligned values, so that is just amazing. So I can share our screen. We just put together a quick presentation.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, good.
My tech expert on the side is pointing me in the right direction. Can you see the screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing. So we already did like a bit of an introduction, but we are Takaina Landscaping. Like, we are literally Takaina. We are the 2 that run it. We do pretty much everything. And essentially, our organization is dedicated to designing, creating, and teaching others how to design and create productive, regenerative landscapes that actually improve people's life. And that really ties into what you're talking about inside. We're talking about making conscious decisions for the right reasons, so that you can live a holistic, nice life inside without losing your comforts. And I can really see in the platform there how holistic the goals are. Like, you don't have to discard all of the comforts to be sustainable. And we really believe in that as well. So the photo's not coming up. There was a picture of us there.
You
But
don't like the picture anymore.
yeah. So we both come from islands. Maurizio is from Sardinia, and I'm from Tasmania. And when we were growing up, basically outside of our, like, we were in nature all the time. There was no like constructed natural play spaces. It was nature. Nature was our playground. And that's really based off what we are doing with Takaina. Since we've been living in the city, we've noticed that there is quite a disconnect from that. Whilst the city and the community provides so many benefits, there is still quite a disconnect with nature, and something missing there. Looks like all our photos aren't working. That's all right.
That's okay.
Yeah, so how Ale was saying, it is not about just about landscaping what we do. It is more an holistic approach, and we really care about health, connection, education, inspiration, and abundance. And we try to put all these elements behind the design that we do. And probably Jack is gonna maybe like show us what he has done with the program, but it is right.
Yeah, some of the photos are working. No, Jack hasn't started the program yet. Toby's been working on the program.
Yep.
We've got the 2 brothers who are here.
I can show you what I've done, but it might be not as nice as Toby's. A lot of squiggles and drawings.
So yeah, like the discussion that we had before, or even with Sonia, I don't know, like if it was recorded of the people were in when we were discussing about that. We all know the impact. I'm not saying anything new. How much our environment impact us. So I think in the past like few years we had a pretty intense understanding of how our space is impacting things like even our health, our mental health, how we feel. Obviously, there are things that we cannot control. We cannot control a lot of things that are outside of our house. We cannot control. We cannot control the environment. We cannot control what are the geopolitical choices. We cannot control a lot of things. But there is a great news, because what we can control, it is ourselves and the space that we live in. And making conscious decision about that has a huge impact on our life and on the life of the people that we love and that we share the space with. This presentation is, so how can we do that from a landscaping point of view? We identify 4 main components that we have to keep in mind in order to create an environment that suits us and inspire us.
Yeah. So we spent a year creating the program that we've currently got 17 people going through. And essentially, we had to break down all of the different disciplines that we use in our actual design and implementation and simplify it for people, because it's not possible for everyone, for the resources financially, for the location, and for other factors personally, but some people would like to do it themselves. However, when you jump online to YouTube, that's generally not the most organized and cohesive way to do things. And the 4 things that we discovered from what we do that are the key components, starting with ecological factors. So that's the step 1 always, is to understand the ecological factors of your space. The next one we come into is dreams and desires. So understanding what you like, what's the desire. There can be comforts there. It's okay. We don't have to live on the farm style. You can create a beautiful entertaining areas, etc. And also factoring in our needs. And then taking those 2 things in step 3 and putting them into a design, thoughtfully, consciously walking out the space, designing instead of making rush decisions like we were talking about, actually consciously creating the landscape. And then the 4th step is to project manage that appropriately, essentially. So make sure that you're going through the right steps to get it executed and don't just leave it as a design. So we could talk for a really long time about that. And we've tried to really simplify it, because essentially it is as simple as that. It's just about having the right knowledge and the right tools to do that, and not stressing and giving it a go. Do you want to say anything else?
I think that is if anyone has any question, we are really passionate about this, what we do. So if you let us talk, we are gonna speak for another hour about what we do. So please, if you have any question, we are more than happy to ask a specific question. Yeah.
So first of all, I think this is a quite incredible, actually, course or program you've put together, and very much aligned to what we are trying also to push holistically around homes. Like I already mentioned previously, the garden, even if it's a small space, you can create a little bit of a green environment is so important, even if it's indoor with plants. I think something around that really connects us back to the originals in terms of nature. It connects us also in the broader sense, even with the meaning of country. And it's a very nice pathway to be grounded, to have a nice balanced mental well-being space, and creating that and designing it together. So I love the program. It's really, really interesting. And one thing which really struck me when I had the first session with Alex was, Alex, you tapped into an area I'm always concerned as a typical, metro kid growing up actually in Frankfurt. When you said the landscaping design includes also the maintenance aspect, and that it doesn't actually require much, neither from the watering requirements, or that it becomes a little bit also maybe a place which sustains itself, but it needs, of course, a little bit attention and maintenance, but it is not like these typical, I don't know, English gardens, which need a lot attention. So I really like that, because it includes also native plants, which have a resilience in itself built in. So can you explain a little bit maybe on that note, how that concept is built in and what that actually means?
So if I was to simplify it, essentially, I'm really passionate about ecology, and essentially when you study the way that the nature around us works, it's actually quite simple. So when you replicate that into a home garden, instead of trying to bring a style from overseas and trying to put that in our climate here, you're actually able to create a system that it can survive by itself, and then you can interact with it as you'd like when you can, but it doesn't rely on you. So when we create a garden that relies on us, that's pretty dangerous, and the likelihood of us keeping that going depends on us being focused on that all the time. I'll give you an example. We have a client in Northcote, and they have a full-blown food forest. Like, it is like you can walk through and cut asparagus, artichoke, like it's got lots going on. And one of the people in the household, they own a business, the other one works full-time. Like, they're normal busy people, and they don't have time to spend a whole weekend gardening every weekend. So they literally left it for 6 months, and it was fine. It looked awesome. It was wild, and it was beautiful. And then they came back in, gave it a trim, and they touch it like probably once a month. They come in, they give their friends food and stuff. And
the maintenance is harvesting,
yeah,
pretty much.
Nice.
Instead of trimming like a bush, you're taking off your leaves, your lettuce leaves, and so on. And it retains water as well, because it's designed like a forest. So depending on your style, depending on your space, depending on your climate, you can create something really tailored to your needs.
Yeah, that's great. Absolutely. I love the idea, like, and then the garden at all, but you have probably phases where you are incredibly busy and you don't spend as much time, but then you have still that access, the retreat, whenever you're ready again. And I love that it won't die meanwhile, and it won't, just basically, I don't know, I really think this is great, because we live in a fairly busy world, but having actually a garden which sustains itself doesn't require much, in particular, not these huge amounts of water, because water is the next big challenge as well. When we're looking into sustainability, we really need to consider you know, carefully how we spend actually our water resources. And I love the aspect that this is really designed and established in a way that it doesn't require much. So that would be definitely something I would even love to do if I wouldn't live in a rental. For my own place, I would definitely go ahead and book this. Yeah, because I think you can learn a lot not share, but being guide, there's so much in a custom idea and the way actually which is the best solution. So I really think that that's brilliant. Well done.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jack, I was going to ask what your
on
maybe
that
how you're
note,
finding it.
sorry, what was that, Daniel?
Oh, I guess I was just curious, and I know Jack started the course, but I was just wondering if Jack, you wanted to just let us know what you're planning maybe to do with the garden and why you're doing the course and kind of what, yeah, is it going to be like a productive food garden, native garden, like what are you hoping to achieve?
All of that, mate. Hoping to grow some veggies, or hoping to get some birds, more birds. I'm sick of mowing lawns, mowing the lawn, to be honest. Yeah, if I don't do it, if I don't keep on to it every week or couple of days that I don't do it, it just adds more and more time. I'm just standing there pushing a bloody mower. So, and I'm just sick of doing it. And our backyard, so I've got to get the lawnmower up steps and then down the steps and do one side and then go around the front and more steps. And it just, yeah, I'm just sick of it. So, yeah, if we can grow some veggies, get some, like you guys were saying earlier, if it can pretty much look after itself and be nice and can go out there and actually want to spend time in the garden. Because at the moment, yeah, I mean, since we've had the house, it's nice when you mow the lawn, but it's good for about half an hour and then, yeah, it's back to what it was. But yeah, so if we get some more trees and yeah, grow some veggies, that'd be great. Yeah.
Awesome. I think I'll just add in there, like, there is things involved, but the level that's involved, like, obviously you don't do nothing. We're not saying that like the garden is like you plant it and then you never have to touch it again. But the level of work is so much lower and the output is so rewarding and it actually becomes nice. Like, we have people that would never touch the garden that send us pictures of their worms, sometimes with a head torch. And I can't believe it. It just becomes a nice place, as you said, to be. So you actually kind of want to do stuff when you want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, it's probably also, you know, a great experience to know that it works. Because how often I have, you know, removed myself from that step thinking, I don't have a green thumb. Everything just keeps dying off and so on. Did I just lost you? I might have for a second. Yeah, but I think this is really beautiful because it is a rewarding system, really, and building up the skills and passing on that knowledge, but in a more guided way. I think that's an incredible way actually to do it, and fitting it into the busy lives and hopefully unlocking a little bit more attention and love to spend actually with your garden. And I really guess that that's a good way actually to connect, to have, you know, a really nice mental well-being space out there. Yeah.
Also, I would like to add also that this really empower the person to become the expert of their own space. Because you can actually, like, if you want to delegate the job that you want to do, like in your house, but if you understand the principle, if you understand your space, That's it is a value that you're gonna have for the rest of your life, and you are gonna have, you know, like the best understanding and the best way to delegate if you need anything in your space.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll add to that. Like, since going through the course, I go outside and I look at, so it's 4 o'clock and the sun's coming from that way. I'll remember that. And like, oh, the ground's a bit shitty here. I'll remember that. And I've started taking more notice of what's actually happening around our house, not like in the garden as well. So, and I'll go to other people's houses and I'm like, oh, you should do that. I don't tell them, but in my head, I'm like, oh, if you did that there, that'd be so much better. Yeah, or I reckon if you planted a tree here, that'll stop the sun coming onto your house so much better, and it'll make your house so much more comfier. But I don't tell them. I just
Good. But it's good that you notice now.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thanks.
I think Sonia's frozen.
Yeah.
Am I back?
You're back.
Yes,
Sonia, I think you might be back.
Sorry, somehow internet keeps a little bit going crazy. So yeah, I'm hoping everything got through still in an acceptable way. That we are not just, you know, in like these staccato kind of breaks. So this was fantastic, and I really want to thank you both for a great session. Daniel, you have added the links to the logbook and also to Takayana, really to get a little bit more familiar what they offer. We hope to see them also soon in and on the Evitat platform. And yeah, so Jack, you are one of our first logbook users, which is absolutely amazing. And I think we will here and there invite Jack, you know, to track a little bit what else he's doing with it and to get his feedback as well. I was also listening a little bit, you know, that you wouldn't mind even having more particular questions to dive even more deeper, probably even into our value of insulation maybe and other aspects. So we will add and continue that. And I think in general, it's really to bring in that entire ecosystem, anything which scratches on the aspects of a sustainable home, because we need to change like urgently the way how we invest in our homes, the way, you know, how we make decisions around materials, how we design homes and how we use them so that they really are long-term and long-lasting and really create a lovely space actually to thrive, to enjoy everything. On that note, thank you so much for everyone's attention tonight, and we will soon announce the next webinar as well. So keep and stick with us, and we will also announce a range of new materials coming and also products to the platform. So thank you. And everyone, enjoy your evening. It was an absolute pleasure to have you in tonight's session. And hopefully we can soon create another one.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, that was great. We could probably talk about it for ages. So, yeah. Any other time you want me on it, just let me know.
Absolutely. And Jack is also, you know, running his own business as a carpenter. So if you happen to be in that area, you need anything, great, really products as well from repurposed, recycled materials. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll send around an email link afterwards with a whole bunch of information about Jack's business.
Absolutely.
That'll be great.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thank you again,
Thank you, everyone.
and
Thank you, everyone.
enjoy the evening. See ya.
Bye. Thanks for having me.